even though it is very tempting to link every single escalation we're currently seeing in the world with the crumbling of the post-Cold War world order. Some conflicts can go hot in the blink of an eye, regardless of what is going on globally. The Indo-Pakistani conflict is one of those. These countries have gone to war against each other for Kashmir immediately after the Second World War in 1947, at the height of the Cold War in 1965 and 1971, and then in 1999, which was the peak of Pax Americana and a relatively peaceful time. You can check out our videos about the earlier wars on our channel. But now in 2025, India and Pakistan may be on the brink of another war. In this video, we describe the causes and potential consequences of the recent escalation between India and Pakistan. Every week, we release 3 new exclusive videos for our members and patrons. The Pacific War, the Eastern Front of World War II Prelude, and many other series, including the War of Spanish Succession, Punic Wars, Iberian Reconquista, Russian Revolution and Civil War, North African and Italian campaigns of World War II, and much more. It has been long overdue, but we have finally created a YouTube channel exclusively for our Kings and Generals podcasts. Please go and check out Kings and Generals podcast, home to the Pacific War Week by Week podcast and the Fall and Rise of China podcast, link in the description and pinned comment. To see those, as well as get access to our exclusive Discord, see our schedule, and get early access to all videos, join the ranks of our patrons and YouTube members via the links in the description and pinned comment. Thanks to our supporters for allowing us to continue doing our dream job. The last major war in Kashmir was in 1999. It would be an exaggeration to claim that the disputed region has been peaceful since then, as numerous skirmishes fought between the Indian and Pakistani militaries in Kashmir, and several deadly terrorist attacks by fundamentalist groups in India-administered Kashmir and India proper demonstrated that the Indo-Pakistani conflict still had explosive potential. Having said that, Kashmir and Indo-Pakistani relations had been relatively stable after the 1999 war up until 2019. When a suicide bombing carried out by an Islamist group called Jaish-e-Mohammed killed 40 Indian paramilitaries in Kashmir. India retaliated by revoking the special status of the India-administered portion of Jammu and Kashmir, significantly limiting its autonomy. New rules allowed outsiders to buy land and live and work in Jammu and Kashmir for the first time, a move that pleased the Hindu nationalist support base of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while causing outrage among the Muslim population of Kashmir, which feared that this move would drastically change the demographics of the disputed region. The Modi government also launched a heavy crackdown on local insurgent groups, which they accused of being backed by Pakistan, and imposed heavy security measures there. The Indian government has since boasted of solving the security crisis in the region, even though insurgency still continues. India poured money into developing the infrastructure of Kashmir and to some extent succeeded in turning this beautiful region into a tourist destination. In 2024, a record 3.5 million people visited Kashmir as Modi lauded his government's heavy security measures for normalizing the situation in the state and calling it open for business. But the brutal and heinous terrorist attack that took place on April 22nd showed that the security problem in Kashmir is far from resolved. On this day, an organization called the Resistance Front, thought to be an offshoot of a recognized terrorist organization called Lashkar-e-Taiba, which India accuses of being supported by the Pakistani government, killed 26 tourists near Pahalgam. All but one of the executed tourists were Indian, and this terrorist attack caused major outrage in India. Modi, who was on an official visit to Saudi Arabia, immediately returned home and ordered several retaliatory acts against Pakistan. India's foreign secretary announced that India was imposing a travel ban for all Pakistani nationals, cancelling their visas, shutting down the integrated border checkpost at Attari Wagah, expelling Pakistani military advisors at the Pakistan High Commission in New Delhi, and withdrawing their counterparts from Islamabad. But India's most significant and consequential retaliatory measure was the suspension of the 1960 Indus Waters Treaty. Pakistan has already called it an act of war. Why is it such a big deal? This treaty, which was brokered by the World Bank, is a water-sharing agreement where India and Pakistan split the Indus River basin, with Pakistan controlling the westward tributaries and India the eastward ones. These rivers are vital for Pakistan's agriculture and food security. Even during the 1965, 1971 and 1999 wars, India refrained from blocking the flow of rivers to Pakistan. But this time, the Indian government intends to make sure that not even a drop of water goes to Pakistan, according to India's Water Power Minister Patil. But how are they going to do that in practice? According to a BBC article on this matter, India's existing water infrastructure currently lacks the capability to implement this plan. It does not have the storage capacity to hold the massive volumes of water they intend to keep from Pakistan. They do not have an extensive canal network necessary to divert so much water. Experts note that in the absence of such infrastructure, India risks flooding its own territory, since its dams are far from Pakistani territory. Sources from the Indian government say that they're working on mid-term and long-term solutions to implement the suspension of the treaty, which includes building up India's capacity to retain and divert water flowing to Pakistan, construction of new water storages, and desilting rivers. So in a nutshell, this component of India's retaliation will start hurting Pakistan not immediately, but only after and if India goes through with its plan to renovate and expand its water infrastructure. But India can immediately stop sharing hydrological data with Pakistan, which according to the BBC is crucial for flood forecasting and planning for irrigation, hydropower and drinking water. This would essentially make Pakistan blind about what is happening upstream, creating risks of floods, droughts and food shortages as a result. But Pakistani sources note that even before India suspended the treaty, they had not been sharing all of the expected data with them. Due to the vital nature of the treaty for Pakistan, its government released a strongly worded statement condemning India and vowing to respond with full force across the complete spectrum of national power. As mentioned already, Pakistan sees the suspension of the water treaty as an act of war, which makes the situation unpredictable, creating a real risk of military escalation between two nuclear nations. Pakistan has called for the World Bank and the international community to interfere with India's decision to suspend the treaty. Along with that, Pakistan has also suspended the 1972 Simla Agreement, which is the peace treaty between India and Pakistan, posturing readiness to use military force. They have also closed airspace to Indian aircraft and responded in kind, such as suspending visas of Indian citizens, expelling Indian diplomats and military advisors, along with cutting off all trade with India. The Pakistani government has also called for a neutral investigation of the terrorist attack in Kashmir and has strongly denied its involvement in it. Of course, another round of the Indo-Pakistani confrontation could not have been complete without a military buildup and a threat of military action by both sides. Immediately after the terrorist attack, the Indian Army and its other security agencies launched a security sweep in the area looking for the perpetrators, following Modi's vow to pursue them to the ends of the earth. Residences of at least 5 suspected perpetrators have already been destroyed by the Indian security forces, while skirmishes have occurred between them and local insurgents. There have also been exchanges of small arms fire on the line of contact between India and Pakistan. As of late April, the military reaction on both sides has been restrained. This indicates that the most likely scenario from the military perspective is limited to border skirmishes and artillery duels. India could also potentially conduct small cross-border operations and surgical strikes against militant camps as a punitive action against the April 22nd attack. Pakistan may potentially respond in kind and even launch small tactical-scale ground operations of their own in retaliation. At this point, a conventional full-scale war is not very likely. India is a retaliating side here, and there is a chance that after carrying out surgical strikes and operations against insurgent camps, including those responsible for the Pahalgam attack, they may declare victory to appease public opinion, while making sure that their actions do not provoke a bigger response from Pakistan. But this may change if India starts implementing the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty in practice. As discussed earlier, this scenario may be truly disastrous for Pakistan, and being backed into a corner, Islamabad may resort to doing something more drastic than minor cross-border raids to force New Delhi into policy reversal if their diplomatic efforts do not work. Whether Pakistan has the military and economic potential to truly hurt India, which has been gradually modernizing its military by purchasing advanced equipment both from the West and Russia, is a huge question, particularly at a time when Pakistan's long-standing ally, the United States, is seeking closer relations with India. This is not the first time the tensions between India and Pakistan have flared up after the 1999 war, so there is a good chance that a major escalation may still be avoided. Having said that, there is also a chance that these tensions may ignite a conflict, given that India is vowing to carry out a retaliatory measure which it has not used before. So far, we have seen a lot of bellicose rhetoric on both sides and little to no outside attempt to mediate the situation. As the American South Asia expert Michael Kugelman said, We have two nuclear-armed neighbors staring at each other. All bets could be off. A few hours before the release of this episode, videos showing India conducting strikes in the Pakistani-controlled portion of Kashmir were circulated. According to the Indian military, the strikes are targeting terrorist groups and deliberately avoiding Pakistani military installations. Despite that, Al Jazeera reported that an old airport was attacked in Muzaffarabad, while Reuters reported at least 2 explosions in the Indian-controlled regions of Kashmir. We're going to continue talking about this situation in the coming days and weeks, so make sure you are subscribed and have pressed the bell button to see it. Please consider liking, subscribing, commenting and sharing, it helps immensely. Our patrons and YouTube members can watch more than 200 exclusive videos. Join their ranks via the link in the description or by pressing the join button under the video to watch these weekly videos, learn about our schedule, get early access to our videos, access our private Discord, and much more. This is the Kings and Generals channel, and we will catch you on the next one.